very interesting software and products in a matter of hours. And we've got an excellent panel here today to actually showcase their observations, their trainings, learnings, and how to go about literally creating your dream product as soon as possible. So before we actually start with the panel, can I get a quick show of hands on who's here who are founders? Okay, we got one. Academics, students. Okay, we got a few. Who are the rest of the crowd here? Business owners? Okay, so most of you, I feel, are lost in what you guys are doing and so on, but it's interesting. So we're trying to make this conversation as interactive as possible. And before we start off things, I'll just give each panelist about 30 seconds to give a quick intro about themselves, what they're doing, and how white coding is impacting. We'll start with Shivang.
Hey, hi everyone. Thanks for being here, and thanks Madhu for inviting me on the panel. My name is Shivang. I'm founder of the Generative Beings. It's a platform, a community-led growth model that we're building to help AI founders and builders sort of get showcased in the network and sort of help them get closer to their product market fit. I've been here in this Singapore ecosystem for the last 2 years, but we're now 10,000 people across Southeast Asia. Focus is very much on helping founders and builders adopt the latest understanding of technologies, adopt white coding, and actually move beyond the restrictions of not being able to solve a problem because they didn't have the skill set of putting the tool. But now with AI, that's sort of getting eliminated, and that's what we're trying to do.
Awesome, Shiva. Vino?
I work for Insight. It's a global solution integrator for Microsoft, and so primarily how businesses adopt technology, and the last 4 months have been really focused on helping customers adopt AI at work. That's across productivity, internal productivity, or external disruptors like the applications and developer ecosystem, trying to get the agentic software development lifecycle and improve their overall productivity.
Hi, my name is Daryl. I run two businesses. One is a accounting firm, AI accounting firm. We started in 2017. Back then, ChatGPT, or back then it was called OpenAI. They had this AI that beat the Total champion and Google DeepMind. They had the beat the gold chess champion in 2017. So I decided I don't know if AI can beat these two champions, I can use AI to do accounting. So we have been doing this since 2017, and because of AI, it's enabled me to start my second business, which is in AI education, and also we are building the next generation AI agentic ERP.
David?
I am David. I'm from Alibaba Cloud, and I can bring two perspectives. One perspective as a vendor, the tools that will help you to do vibe coding, to improve your process. And for myself, I can tell you my perspective of using these tools to do for my own customers. So the customers say, oh, I need to use this API endpoint, I need to create this application. Then we, because we don't have much time, we use our vibe coding ourselves to create it and give it to them.
Awesome, guys. So let's start the questions or the discussions with Shiva. So Shiva, you're building a very interesting AI community. So we see from a bird's eye perspective how startups and all, or successful teams that actually thought about, successfully coding themselves into the products and so on. So what are the key observations you've seen in that journey, and what are the lessons you would give the audience in terms of turning their ideas into scalable solutions?
Thanks for that. So just a quick show of hands. How many of you have used an AI coding platform to create any project? Right. So many of you are still yet to do that, right? What we're basically saying is that as a business owner, you always have a tech team who does the entire development for you, and then you go out and focus on your go-to-market. With the AI agents and the assistants, that power is now in your hands, so that you can just type a simple English prompt and it starts to create a front-end experience, a workflow that your customers can use. And how the AI founders are utilizing that is that it's speeding up the development cycle for them. They don't need to find a CTO or a co-founder 6 months down the line, pay half their equity, but they basically spend $20 a month, and within a couple of hours, they've got their idea onto a live working website. And that's the power. So many of the founders right now are testing whatever base product they have. They'll create a new page and they'll try a new AI assistant tool to create a new workflow on that page. And then they'll just make it live and they will see the interaction going up or down. So that's sort of like where Lovable and Build started off with, giving you a really good prototype. But we are now in a stage where prototype isn't enough. When you're going out and you're building an entire application, you need a sign-up flow. You need a couple of pages or workflows that solve the problem. You need a payment integration. You need emails and notification that goes out. So all of these base pillars create a complete product in a good sense. Most of the members there and founders are actually using coding assistants. Like Codex is definitely one of the hottest ones right now. But Claude Code, I think, and Cursor are the biggest ones, right? Everyone's talking about that as a community because that gives you like real superpowers. However, you need some coding, understanding to actually build something really interesting on this.
Awesome. So since you explained a lot about these coding tools, let's imagine a simple use case. I want to start a website for my pastry company. What sort of tools will you usually use and how you go about the process of creating a website to plugging in your payment so that even if there's no audience can start a baby business?
So my suggestion has always been that find upcoming masterclass or a hackathon and just go and participate, because that's where the maximum learning happens. You talk to 15 people who are actually building on different tools and they'll give you ideas that they'll be more than happy to also help you develop something. For a low-code person, I feel Lovable and Bold are really great examples. But just yesterday, actually maybe before yesterday, I was on a panel and there is a new product called Caffeine AI, which is based on sort of a blockchain technology, and they're also trying to create a chat to an application layer product. There's another simple tool called Chat and Build, which allows you to create a full stack backend and front end. So if you want to try something, I would say just try it with Lovable or Bold. I think the freemium version will give you 7 or 40 days access. You can start by simply telling it what are the different pages you want, on each page what are the flows you want, and then if it's a sign-up experience and a payment experience, you probably need a little more development understanding to integrate the payment cycle. You might not have a payment provider, but at least the rest of the pages you can actually just go live. Have a very simple page for people who are interested to give in their email ID, and that email ID gets stored in your database. I think that's something that you can actually just build up in a couple of hours.
Okay, awesome. So let's go to Daryl. So Daryl is an interesting character. He's been part of traditional businesses, mostly serving the SMEs as an accountant himself, now embracing trainings around AI, vibe coding. So one of the key things that SMEs have to do is now going to digital transformation. And most of the SMEs that they want to train on budget, they also need to go into digital transformation. So where is vibe coding coming here, and how can non-techies, mostly senior SMEs, leverage vibe coding to do that digital transformation?
I mean, for most of the Singapore SMEs, they don't have the budget to maintain a software development team. And most of the time they end up with off-the-shelf software, like accounting software, inventory software. And this software, most of the time, may not fully fit into their apps. So this is where now, even without a software development team, you can actually augment this. If you have some problem statement that your current software can't solve it, you can write code it, create a mini app that connects to your existing solution. If you don't want to create a whole system, you can create a software just for your specific purpose to solve your specific problem statement. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's take a traditional business now then. So you're into accounting. One of the biggest issues you see, say if you're running, let's say there should be reconciliation, right? So how do you build digital products? And how are you training the students that actually come to the training programs? Someone turns up saying, okay, I want to build my coding solution. One is it possible? And if it's possible, how do they actually?
Well, being an actual certified accountant, right, reconciliation is not rocket science, but quite close. So, because okay, even humans, when we do reconciliation, it depends on the data we receive. AI is the same. If you don't provide the appropriate data for matching, right, then even the AI will have issues with matching. So actually, it's about designing the pipeline for this data to come in, so that your information is always aligned. For example, if you collect from a POS system, right? If you're using the pay now, everyone's going to, let's say you're selling a plate of chicken rice, $10. Everyone's going to pay $10. But back end, how do you know this $10 belong to which invoice or which receipt? We don't know, right? Right? So that's why they have POS solutions that tell you that, oh, we have a hash. Every issue, every transaction there's a hash. Then every payment coming there's a hash. Then we match them. We know this $10 is for this plate of chicken rice. So that's the reconciliation. It's about designing the pipeline so that the information can flow for reconciliation. So I mean, there's a lot more to think that now the agentic space is not yet mature to handle this reconciliation yet. But I do foresee probably next half of next year. Yeah, we know SAP is already doing agentic ERP system. Yeah, so probably we are also doing agentic ERP system. So the race is on to see who can get there first. But SAP is going to service like the larger clients who are already on ERP. But Sam Altman also said that you're going to have a $1 billion company coming soon, like one-person $1 billion company. But that one-person $1 billion company, he needs a system like agentic ERP to help him. Otherwise, he can't be operating every part of the ERP himself, right? So that's the race we're going, and we are not targeting the larger players. We also want to service the smaller sector, the S and the M's, even the micro SMEs as well, so that they can leverage on this and grow their revenue without going to headcount. Yeah.
Awesome, Andrej. So now let's go to Vino. So let's go from startups, SMEs, to now more enterprise and mid-market companies. So we know you've seen the implementation of cloud and digital products through most of our. In terms of delivering value for the workforce, where do you see the white coding now coming into such big companies, the big teams, mature teams, qualified professionals? What's the role white coding can play in terms of boosting the application?
Right. So yeah, my focus is primarily large enterprises. We are talking about 200 plus to 2,000 developer ecosystem. I had the opportunity to work with a group that has 1,200 developers using an AI assistant to develop code, and they see the productivity. That was a last year topic in terms of actually seeing productivity. But this year we have seen our customers really adopting the agentic. They are at the infancy of the agentic state. But where the industry is heading to is to relook at how the teams are structured. They are trying to have subject matter expertise and domain expertise, focusing on working with the agents. It doesn't mean really cutting down the team, but I mean that's something that we will see in future and how they're going to reallocate the developers and how they're going to structure. But where we are seeing that agentic AI really resonating is with the subject matter expertise, being able to work with the different agents and the workflows to get things done. So that's kind of where the productivity gain we are looking at. And for an enterprise that spreads across the different areas, right, all the way from ideating, doing prototyping, wireframes, and then to writing quality control test cases to development, we really see that change happening. So what it translates at the end of the day for the business is in terms of the time savings and the productivity gains, but coming to the philosophy of vibe coding, that really helps organizations like what you are saying in terms of prototyping. So you can build prototypes faster, bring it to market, get the market sentiments, feedbacks, go and start working it again, which directly translates to your customer satisfaction index or customer retention. So that's kind of the business outcome we are looking.
Awesome. So let's give it an example. Let's look at a tool like something to be integrated, GitHub Copilot. Now, if you take most enterprises or even more mature companies, they have established workflow. So how do they go about now integrating this?
Correct. I would say start, irrespective of the tool, start from the downstream impact that you really want to see. Because most of the times they just adopt the tool and they are not very sure what's the outcome, does it really benefit or not. So start from the downstream. What is it you really want in the next 6 or 12 months? Is it you want to improve quality, or is it you want to bring a product out to the market faster? For an enterprise, is it you want to reduce your defect ratios or improve your quality? Like identify those that you really want to see and then just start working down from there. So if it's quality is a concern, yeah, spend more time with the quality team, look into the processes. If your process is bad and AI is only making the same process faster, it doesn't really improve it, right? So you want to start with that impact, look into the process, refine the process, and then incorporate tools that will really help you. Not necessarily, it could be a combination of tools. And then start looking at the metrics. So once you have the downstream metrics, you can, the objectives, then you can start looking at the metrics, measure the metrics like weekly, or we do that actually for customers weekly, whether there is a change in their adoption, change in the activity, change in the actual outcome, and then start working towards enabling the teams, or it could be a change of the tool, or it could be a change of content, right? So that's kind of how you work.
So let's bring David into this discussion. So you also see the number of AI tools. So how does these AI tools go hand in hand with cloud platforms? And what is the importance of it? And how does this new environment where more AI related tools are now being implemented? How is that impacting on these organizations which provide cloud solutions?
So one question is how the AI tools integrate utilize cloud. I think one thing to look at is that these AI tools or these coding models tend to be very large. So the cloud becomes the place to deploy this. So basically, in your endpoint, you just call the command. You will send it to the cloud will process that command plus the code that you have. I think Vina also mentioned you need to integrate the actual system. So a lot of times you already have your own code base if you are doing something that's really developing there. So the model needs to look at your previous code. It needs to have a long context. So everything will be shipped up to the cloud. You can't do this on a local computer right now because the models are not strong enough and small enough to fit on a local computer.
So in terms of development team, waiting for prototype and actual production design. So cloud infrastructure is essential to have in that money. But in terms of seeing it from a more obstacles or roadblocks, is there any particular roadblock that you have seen while you guys are implementing or observing that you can actually bring to life and more or less implement in terms of creating that early on?
I think one thing that every new tool, people think is a superpower. But if you are understanding about it, you realize that it is a new tool and it has its purposes. So I think with vibe coding and coding assistance, this give us superpower to create prototypes quickly, create things fast. But don't be misunderstood. This does not give us production level code. So if I vibe code something, I create a UI, I create a front end. But this code is not high security enough. This code is not production ready. So it's very good. We want to prototype, we want to showcase. But after that, maybe we want to use another level of coder to work through the code another time to fit it to our enterprise code qualities and then go from there. So I would say that we must be cautious about this. It is a superpower in a certain sense, but we shouldn't miss the gaps there as well.
That's great. So now I'll open the floor for any questions the audience has. Any questions from the floor? No one. So I'll just quickly wrap up with a couple of questions from the panel again. So
I want to ask a question to David.
Yes.
So you're saying that production the AI coding assistant cannot help us reach enterprise grade. Is that true, or is there already AI that can help us reach from prototype to enterprise? enterprise grade.
So maybe for that one, I will take a step back. So when I explain that, I mean like let's say you call the logo, or let's say for us we have a coder or pen code. So in the use case, I needed to create a website for marketing thing. So we asked pen code, we prompted it, say create a website. This is the flow I want you to do. Then you output the stuff. Then we look at the code because we are also developers. We look at code, then we realize it's not well formatted. There's some spaghetti code. So I would say that it does what it does, but it's not enterprise ready yet. If we want to do this for enterprise, we will take our enterprise code. We will say, okay, I want you to write it similar to this. I want you to follow these processes and whatnot. So to use this tool, to use it well, you must put it together with what you currently have.
So you're saying it's possible?
Actually, it is possible. So there are enterprises that have integrated this, and then they've seen productivity gains like 20-30%. I would say that it depends on what you mean by productivity gain. In this case, if they are doing something that they need to search the internet for a lot, or they search an internal knowledge base a lot, then yes. But if talking about something maybe cutting edge that you need to, like if you build a new deep learning model, you need to think about how it should be done, the whole neural network architecture. This one can't be done by coding assistant, so it depends on what you're trying to do. But I want to say, there's actually one example, I think in GitHub, that on Reddit they were saying that vibe coding generated 170 lines of GitHub code, and then the developer pushed this to GitHub. Then people are complaining to say that this is rubbish because a lot of these things are actually just formatting changes and whatnot. So I would say it is a tool, but you must use it well.
Thanks, David.
That's great. So just a quick step up, I think in terms of communities, I think there's a number of white coding communities that are emerging. It literally has been non-techie students who embrace white coding, launch products, mostly learn from one another. What's the role you see in community driven aspects of it?
So, community-led growth, right? It's just like a sense of belonging, right? A couple of decades back, we had influencers like Hollywood and Bollywood stars, which would be the face of a brand to talk about the narrative and basically get the customer to buy the product or the service. In the last decade plus, we have seen influencers utilizing their content creation skills on social networks, and then micro-influencers. Every individual person who has a particular skill is now micro-influencers, content creators. Right? That is now evolving into community-led growth model. Every AI tool, every big company has their own community on Discord, on Slack, wherever it is. But the intent is very clear that we want to feel vulnerable, we want to sit with our customers, we want to understand, and we want to build in public with them. So it's no more that we're going to have a very hush-hush roadmap, something gets launched and the customers do not have any say in it. With vibe coding, the best part, that's what Darren and I was discussing, right? There's so many people who have already spent enough hours or even months or years understanding how best to use these AI coding assistants. And if we can find them and we can showcase them, they are going to be the best people to help the non-developers like myself actually get comfortable with using AI. And even right now, when I talk to some of the CPOs and the product leaders, they put an assignment for their new PMs, even UX designers, that they have to use, and basically use any coding platform, rather going Gold, Replit, V0, any of them, but to create a project. And that is just to see how comfortable they are. So, what they was rightly said, if someone is just using it wrongly, trying to copy pasting some junk and uploading it on GitHub, the guy will get to know. But when you start asking questions on what were you trying to solve, what were the steps you took, that's where the reality comes out. So I'm loving that aspect of vibe coding, but yeah, I also know that there's a lot of like the negative aspect of everyone thinks that they can code now. This is not really true, and I don't feel that code is going anywhere. It's just coding has been one of the communication tools for humans to build working digital products, right? And now that language is changing. That language is becoming English. That's what Andrej Karpathy is also saying, right? Like the Internet 3.0 or the next way of coding is basically the language of coding is going to be English. And how cool is that? Because we know that language.
That's actually quite interesting. So in terms of AICON, we have a whiteboard. The only thing you can do is simply refer businesses. And we've run ourselves into very high digit revenue right now. And it's 2 months, I have no experience doing any form of coding. And Google App Sheet, so that's the worst out of all whiteboarding tools that we've been using. And I just actually bring Darren here. So I think Darren has more or less used his thoughts in terms of building this tool. And so that will mostly be good advice to a lot of these startups or prospective startup founders who want to get their initial prototype. So what's the best advice you would give anyone? I think considering most of your experience, how to get that first step over the line?
I think a lot of people have a lot of ideas, right? But I think the main thing you need to do is validation. Validate your idea. So you think you have a fantastic idea, but if no one is going to pay for it, then yeah. But if you're going to build a tool for your own use, that's fine, right? But if you're going to build a tool for someone, you better make sure, hey, I'm going to build this. Will you pay me? How much will you pay me? $10 per month? Okay. If someone is willing to put money down, even just $10, right? Okay, maybe you have some kind of validation there. So that's one advice for a lot of businesses out there. Whether you're actually solving a problem that someone is willing to pay money for. Yeah.
That's good. So since we have 5 minutes, I'll just close it off with Vinod and David. So Vinod into a play here. So whiteboarding to a mature enterprise level company means you have to get other stuff like cybersecurity and all these measures as well. So does whiteboarding tools actually, are they secure? Can prospective businesses trust those solutions as well? Or is it just still good enough from a prototype or PMS stage?
I'll like what you were saying. You still need to do some level of work at this stage. Like personally, I've been with developers over the last 12 to 18 months. And coming from an engineering background, I also take a look at the code. You still need domain expert validation, right? And that's what we advocate. Even if it develops a code. So we did that event a few weeks back in terms of whiteboarding production. And we had really located on what are the best practices you could take, and as you take every step of the prototyping, how do you ensure that you create a context? So from prompt engineering to a context engineering, that's actually very important. As agents are looking into it, it needs to be fed. It's similar to a human. If you trust one of your developers today blindly, then you go ahead and trust the agent blindly. If you don't, which is what we see today, right? We have a QA team, we have a product owners, we have security team, we have security scanning tools. You have all this because you do not trust your human today. It's just the same, right? It's just that you're getting agents to help improve the velocity and can do a lot more at a very short period of time. That's the same. Don't remove your security and any guardrails yet.
So just to I think continue on that. So the other part that is important is to manage experimentation with stability when it comes to code quality. So how would you advise potential builders on that aspect in terms of building a more long-term system?
I would say similar to what Daryl said. At the first part, you are looking for the product market fit for people purchase it. So at the first part, you don't need to care so much about stability. Anyway, your application is not very large yet. So at the first part, you just make sure that it looks good, the front end looks good, and then people want to use it. As you get more users, as you scale higher, maybe 100 users, 1,000 users, then you start to look into more stability, more security. So it's always a spectrum. It's never you must do everything beforehand. So most important thing, like Daryl said, is first thing is to get whether people want to use this application, and I think that's where vibe coding is the strongest.
Awesome, guys. So thank you very much to our panelists, Shiva, Vinod, David, and Daryl for taking the time to share their experiences. They'll be around here for the next few minutes as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to approach them and inquire, get their contacts as well. So they do some interesting classes, community exercises, and so on. Events, number of events as well, which you could be a part of, and get yourself from production. Really. Thank you, guys, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.